I had asked you to read all this, right? Now, my introduction, forget it because that's not that important for you. What is more important is how do we study, what we are going to do. Now, syllabus, learning plan, everything is already on this website. We normally get calculate 16 weeks, but we try to finish in 12 to 13 weeks. And if required, we take extra classes one way or the other. We ensure that syllabus is finished well before time and revision is done. Some revision is required because most of you are used to different learning methods where you study few days before exams and there is a gap because what I teach you now, I ask you in January, February, you will say I forgot. So that should not happen. That is why we keep some time for revision. Now, the whole idea of any professional training is you must get best of the best knowledge that's available from everywhere. Okay, I'm just one of the tools in that. You read a lot, anything material you get, you read, you watch YouTube videos, you talk to people, join chat groups where they discuss something, use internet for research. Only danger what is involved on internet is there is a lot of fake information. So don't accept everything just on the face value. Think over it. Whatever it is, think over it. Yeah, okay, this guy is saying it is like this. Does it fit my logical mind? No, it's not fitting. Let me ask somebody. Go ask somebody. So that is how what happens, it gets cleaned up. Another problem with internet is the terminology that is used. There is a very strong American influence on internet. And we don't use American terminology in India. So you can have certain issues there. So you have to understand even there's something written on a ship. If it is from USA, it may be saying something, but your understanding might be different because of the choice of words. So you have to be little bit careful, but you will be able to do enough research there to satisfy yourself. Another one is discuss with others. Study in groups, at group of at least 4, and discuss. Even while eating food, you can ask each other questions and discuss something, and you're okay. See, in the end, what is time management? You know you have to do this much of study. Try to find different methods without making it a burden. See, once you start thinking of it as a burden, everything is lost. Now, when you will start this course, follow the sequence. Okay, the sequence is made in a particular way so that you will go step by step. Links are there are links which will take you to other sites. You will find some guidance notes or self-assessment questions. Both are practically the same. Some people use word guidance notes, some say self-assessment question. Means short questions are there. And I read the question, I ask it to myself, yeah, do you know it? Yes, I know the answer. In mind, not writing, mind. So that the confidence builds up. Yes, I know. I can take the next step. I can take the next step. Videos will be there, pictures will be there, then there will be some assignments given to you, quizzes will be there. Now the quiz don't have negative view of it, it is not testing you. With quizzes I get idea whether you are understanding what I am talking. If you don't understand, it will reflect in a quiz that okay, this topic most of the students didn't understand. Fine, so I revise it. Then again, quiz will indicate whether it's understood or not understood. The quizzes are for that. That is indicator of teaching, not learning. Learning is because if you know the all right answers means the teaching process was successful. And so was learning. There can be gaps. You see, teaching and learning is not exactly on same level. Up and down is there. You have to keep track of IMU syllabus and teaching plan. Some of you will do it, some of you may not do it. Agreed with whatever it is. The guy who is attending class, somebody, one of you must keep track of this teaching plan. CHLP, what is given there. That done, done, done. If anything is missing, ask. Okay, raise queries, but not for sake of raising queries. Raise queries when you don't understand. If you understand, it's okay. If you have got difficulty, ask me, ask your neighbor. Peer learning is also very important part of learning. So ask, read, find something else. In the end, what is the idea? 100% knowledge has to be transferred. Don't lag behind too much. Means don't end up in a saying kal karega, parsu karega, and then you have got a big gap to catch. Big gap you can't catch. A train starts when it has not gathered that much of speed and there is a sufficient gap, you can run and catch the train. But if train is too fast, you can't catch it. Same thing upon buses, anything, wherever you have to hang. Some guys know it in Mumbai and say Calcutta and all. Some places you don't have to hang, you are nice, quick and comfortable. So this is the way you will be doing it. Now next one I am going to talk about is the self-study. Now here I'm just following it exactly from the Moodle site. So as far as you go, you are practically following the same thing. Now this information of self-study I have gathered from many places. Okay, it is not what you can say the my full creation or something. No, this is just a research combined to make it little easier for you that you don't have to struggle all over. Time has come for you to leave hand of a teacher and stand up on your own. Means in next 2.5 years you are going to become independent totally. You are 18 plus, you can elect government, you are independent man or a woman. So don't expect baby childish behaviors. Our case, the self study is supplementary to your classroom learning. I'm not going to leave something on you. Okay, you will get some projects where you have to do research on all, but that is something else. We are not going to leave something on you saying that self study karo aur nikal jao. No. Here self study is supplementary. That means whatever you do in classroom, self study is like revisions what you are going to do. And improve on whatever you learned in the class to make it better. Okay, what you need everything is just copied information. Generally, one should be comfortable. Follow this. Now, the most important ones, as far as I go. The rest of the things are okay. This is the critical area. This. Okay, I have noticed it that somehow there is not enough attention paid to pen, pencils, erasers, sharpeners. They distract you. What happens if my pen runs out of ink? I have to look around, ask somebody, "Are there pen de?" That's a distraction. Same thing about pencils. So you should have like two pens, two pencils, eraser of your own, sharpener because you have to sharpen the pencil, compass box because you need to use the compass as well as divider. Ruler is a must. Now, okay, the compass box will have a 15 centimeter ruler. Normally that works, but you should also own a normal full ruler. Okay, 30 centimeters. Parallel ruler. Now that you will get with the time passing, they will tell you parallel ruler everything. Highlighters and all, whatever you need to highlight information, that you will come later on. But make sure that your compass box, everything is in good condition always. Because people have got struggle and you are not allowed to borrow anything during exams. Now, when you take any notes, now again, I'm not exactly expert on taking notes because I don't take so many notes. I try to retain in it, and then my notes are such that only I can understand, nobody else. Avoid loose papers because when you write on a loose paper, you keep it somewhere and it can go missing. Better to use notebook as a loose paper, a rough book, so you know where to look for. Instead of searching all over, yes, it is in this news notebook. I will get information what I want. I marked it somewhere. So you get it in this question of then 2 3 minutes and you got everything. Otherwise, searching for a paper can be madness. You will be using laptops, computers, smartphones, etc. Now, eye exposure will be one of the concerns because already you have heard enough on it from parents that don't play so much, don't play so much on this. But get glasses. You know which ones the eye protecting you get, no, the ones UV types and whatever to protect the blue and all whatever it is. So get it, but these are the essential tools because your eyesight shouldn't get spoiled. So have something to protect your eyes. Next, try all types of method. Now these things are written by experts. Okay, these people have spent a lot of time in their life in doing research on different things. So I cannot give you any guidance on this, but go through all of it, try all of them, all the methods what people are telling you here, or you'll find this is from internet, so you'll find the same thing. Try all the methods. Some methods are suitable for math, some methods are suitable for something else, some methods are suitable for meteorology. Fine. Over the period in next 2.5 years, you will develop different habits and you will learn what to use where. But go through all of it. Don't rule them out first only because I tell you something so you don't rule it out. No. Test it yourself. When you feel you're comfortable with it, then start using it. Don't try to just do something because somebody else is doing or hey, what is good for me and it not be good for you. These things happen. Then this is important part. Study multiple subjects each day because in life you are not going to get dedicated time for one thing at a time. Working parallel is their thing. So different multiple subjects means what happens? You break them in small pieces and you learn continuity as you read it every day. Today is linked with tomorrow is linked with day after tomorrow, so you will start retaining it better. This is very interesting one, rather than just focusing only on one side. Today I am going to study only maths, next 3 days only maths. No, mix up all the subjects. In the beginning you may have little difficulty. I do understand your issues, like you are used to studying like 2 days before exam. Sure, I'm not going to disturb that because you also need marks. It is not only talking theoretically. Marks are not, as far as I go, marks are not that important. You need balance. So, you need marks also. So, uh, just try to follow this. And after experimentation, you will know which is working well with you, which is not. Now, this is something like 2 months, okay? If you follow this method, it's about 2 months. Don't multitask. Now, this multitask definition is different than what you generally hear. Everybody will tell you you must learn for time management. Multitasking is that is work. That is work related thing where you have to be involved and run 4 things at a time that you will do later on. Here, the multitasking is distractions, like when you are doing right now. You are saying you're supposed to focus on what I am talking and look at the screen and try to absorb. Not at the same time, अरे ये phone पे क्या आया? What is happening? Oh, let me put a message that I'm chatting. No, don't do that. If you're not using your phone, if you're not using your phone for studies, I will even say switch off phone for that much of time. And you don't study at long stretches. You generally, your human concentration span is only about say 15 20 minutes for most of the people. Some people can stretch it longer, some people even have 15 is enough. And then take break. Like recommendations can be study 45 minutes, take 15 minutes break. Now some 40 minutes and all may be having something that allows you, like generally your school timings, college timings are 45 minutes a lecture period. It's 45 minutes, 40 minutes like that. Here we have got 1 hour, but that is because we follow little different regime and the number of hours are counted. But we also try to give you, say we teach about half an hour, 5-10 minutes go like a bakwas baji. Then some questions, huh? Okay. So don't try to do too many things. When you're studying, just study, focus. Okay, half an hour, no problem. But take break, revise in your mind, and then continue. That way, it is much better. You will find your own methods anyway because everybody has got different learning styles, and there is something that you go on website, they tell you which is your learning style by giving you a quiz and all. That's all free stuff. Try to identify yourself. Okay, the summarizing, simplify, you know enough about it. Mnemonics, taking notes by hand. Now, here this point is something you do some more reading before you reach any conclusion because I don't believe in taking notes because for me, the previously discussed point distraction. Instead of concentrating on what is given, you end up transferring it. That means you may get a direct connection between your ears and hand without going through brain. It is possible. So as far as I go, you find your own method. Write down your worries so that you don't go blank in exams. Okay, it happens to people I have seen during 5 years of my teaching career. People do go blank. Pressures. What happens is if you are prepared well, you will also learn. You concern here if that question comes, what will I do? That you prepared yourself from beginning. So you know what to do. Not facing a problem without knowing what to do. Then you lose time. In exams, if you are going to start thinking, what is the answer? What is the answer? You will never finish the paper. But whereas you read the question, you know the answer. You will definitely finish all the papers on time. Never ever you will have a shortage of time. Test yourself frequently. Now this self-testing need not be written. It can be just I ask question to myself. I think about the points. Okay, 1 point, 2 point, 3 points. Okay, how many points I know? Good enough. That is the revision here because in then you're going to take out everything from here. Rest is you read more. Okay, reading out loud also it works with some people. It doesn't work with everybody. And you start talking loudly, the neighbor says you catch chilla. It used to be a ploy by a lot of boys to do it when the cricket is there. So morning studies will be loud voice, and then moment TV starts, switch over. Okay, this taking regular breaks, rewarding yourself. Okay, eating a healthy snack. So I don't know what is healthy snack because it's one of those items everybody is arguing on it. What healthy snacks you think is? Everybody tells you it is not good. Now this focus on process is what basically focusing on process means. You know, like say maths, physics, navigation, stability, and all. You get the problems. So you learn how to solve the problem. Don't just keep on solving like a donkey. Understand the methods correctly. Learn methods so that any values can change and you still know how to solve it. You can't be saying that values must be same and that I copy only that. No. It may be difficult for some people in the beginning, but this is the time to start changing. Okay. A water drinking is there, but not in the class. Okay. End of the class, you drink water. Now, here about 2 to 3 liters is a arguable one by a lot of people. In Norway, for example, they drink only 1.5 liter in a day. Why? Because they don't have so much of hot temperature. The perspiration is less. Our perspiration is more. So I think 2 to 3 liters. Okay, one glass will be probably with 300 cc's. Okay, then rest is very important, which everybody has already told you. No point in going in it. And go through this again, think about it, and experiment with it. Now, this efficient note taking method, I have given you a link. This link discusses various methods of notes. How do you take the notes? Okay. Some people say that this method is better to do. Somebody says no, full sentence. Somebody says point. All sorts of things are there. But go through this and experiment. See which works better in case you need to take notes. In case you just need a trigger. You see, one of the thing my observation during exam invigilation was people have got answer within them. It's not triggering on. The trigger is very important. And this, what is that copying? Guy says some one word, and it triggers on another guy starts writing. So these triggering methods are the same mnemonics and all. No? So use them. Now enough about this. Let us start moving on development of ocean ships. This is where we start discussing your syllabus. Okay. Understand what I am saying. Okay. Suppose if I have got a piece of paper like this. Okay. If I put it on water, will it float? Give me some answer. Why will it float? If the car, it will absorb water, it will sink, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Now what happens is, as a small child, what do we learn? We learn, somebody teaches her how to make boats and all, and this time our monsoon has also stayed long. So, morning, I made this one. Okay. Now see what this one has got. It's the same paper. I have given it some strength by folding it here and there, and I have given it shape. Now what happens if I put it in water? It may go up to here till it absorbs water, assuming if it is waterproof paper, and then what happens. But I can put something inside, small pebbles or something, it will still float. Now that is how the ships are made. It is made out of steel, but it needs strengthening, it needs a shape. Now what is it? It's basically a box to carry goods, and that box that floats. Everybody will say miraculously because people who have never seen a ship can have lots of doubts about Mr. Archimedes. How big such a huge thing made out of steel? It's floating. So it is miraculous. So anyway, it is a box which floats on water, which can be closed. Okay, ships you have to close because bad weather will fill up water inside and it will sink like this. And that box is used to transport cargo or people. Anything, whatever you want to take from here to there. Just the way we load it in a truck or something or in a car and drive. Same way, we have got a box which floats in the water, we drive it in the water. It may have people, it may have cargo. So it's a type of boat that floats, a waterborne vehicle. That is a ship. Simple definition for us. We'll make it complicated afterwards. Now, what ship needs? Okay, what ship needs? A watertight body, because like I said, my paper boat, if water soaks it, it is going to sink. So I need a watertight body. So that is where we use steel. It is given some shape. following Archimedes' laws. Archimedes' principle, okay, those guys were mad guys who lived long back, 2.5, 3,000 years, 3,000 years, 3,500 years ago. They have made all students' life miserable because Archimedes also must be having friends like Euclid and all sorts of things. Okay. Now, those all guys came out with some fancy ideas, logarithms, and what all stuff they made. Integral calculus, and all. No, I think I'm right, no? Made our life miserable. So, Mr. Archimedes was one of them. Okay. So, this law, principle of flotation, actually applies to all liquids and gases also, fluids. Okay. But we don't use it there with gases. So, we are talking only about liquid. Now, this video will show you uh, somebody is explaining it, and she shows you now before we start the video the bowling ball, what she says, the black colored one, it is normally either some sort of a plastic or a rubberized thing, a hard rubber. It has got three holes, so you put fingers in them, carry it, it's heavy, and you roll it to knock off some 9 pins. Okay, some of you may have seen it, some of you may not have seen it. It's a heavy thing, and it used to be very popular sports in 70s, 80s, 90s. After that, I have not heard much. Some Far East they play, USA they play, Europe not much. So that is bowling. So that is one ball. Other one is a simple basketball or a football or something, or same size, but light in weight. So this is discussed in this video. Okay, I'll start the video now.
You might wonder how a cargo ship weighing 250,000 tons can float in water, but a paperclip like this one sinks. Well, it has everything to do with buoyancy. Buoyancy is the ability of something to float in a liquid, and it has to do with two things. The first is density. Density is how heavy something is relative to how much space it takes up. For example, a bowling ball and a volleyball take up about the same amount of space. But the bowling ball is a lot heavier than the volleyball because a volleyball is full of air. So we can say that a bowling ball is a lot more dense than a volleyball. Usually, objects that are more dense than the liquid they are floating in will sink to the bottom. But that doesn't explain why large objects made of really dense materials, such as cargo ships, are able to float so easily. This brings up the second thing we need to understand. A really long time ago, a man named Archimedes figured out that every time you put something in water, it has to make room for itself. It does that by pushing aside the water as it gets in. We're going to use this bin of water to test it out. If an object like this volleyball is lighter than the amount of water it displaces, then it floats. This tends to happen with less dense objects. But if an object is heavier than the amount of water it displaces, or if it's really dense like this bowling ball, then it sinks to the bottom. So back to our cargo ship. Even though it's very heavy, it's also very large. And most of it is actually hollow, so it's not as dense as we think. The bottom of the ship is also designed to displace a lot of water. This means that the ship actually ends up being lighter than the amount of water it displaces. And that means it can float. You can try testing some objects yourself to see if they float in water. Make your predictions first though. The results might surprise you. I hope you have fun trying this out. And thanks for watching this episode of Things Explained.
Wait.
So, you might have heard that a rare solar eclipse will be passing over the United States on August 21st, and that
Okay. Okay. So there lot of stuff on YouTube also. So generally you got some idea now. Okay. Now if I make a box, how do I move it? You need some sort of propulsion system to push it over the water. And normally what we say a ship is, to you are going to spend money. So you will say कुछ पैसा तो बनना मांगता है. So you create a ship, make sure it has got capacity to carry passengers or cargo, whatever it is, and you earn some money also, unless you make it totally for pleasure. And of course, whatever ship you make, somebody has to maintain and run it. Hmm? Somebody has to do it, no? You can own an aircraft, doesn't mean you have to fly it yourself. You can have a car, but you need a driver. You may become driver yourself, but driver is required. So similarly, we are all required. Now what happens? This is a basic thing about ships. How shipping started is a long, long history. Long history. It is like this. Means there was supposed to be only one continent in the beginning, then it broke, and Australia was formed, then Africa, then Americas broke, then South and North Americas were formed. One way or the other, whatever happened anyway. Now, it happened long ago. There was a clash of the tectonic plates, and you had Himalayas and Tibet and all. And there is another interesting thing which I found out sometime back is dingo, the dog-like thing, animal in Africa. No, sorry, Australia has got direct connectivity with genes with Indian dogs. So how did it happen? Because Australia was discovered only I think about 300 years ago, probably. So that time the population there was using Stone Age weapons. They had not reached metals. So probably Australia broke away from India. So animals also went there. Nobody realized that it happened over thousands of years. So slowly it separated out and settled there. And that coast, is interesting because during my sailing days off New Zealand in Pacific Island, new islands have come up from water. Because that area has got a lot of the seismic activity. Anyway, so human beings were there in the beginning, our ancestors, and even human brain has taken long time for development. It has taken thousands of years to reach what we have got it today, and we still call people donkeys. So it started long back. Basically, those days they had nothing else. According to season, they starved or they had food to eat. Hunting skills were not there; they had to starve. So it started. Then over a period, they learned farming. Why farming was required? Because farming, whatever you produce is there, you can store it as a reserved food. Otherwise, what is the choice in winters, cold winters? Hunting. If you kill something, you can eat that, and that's the end of it. So they fought over fire. They were doing hunting for food. Then they learned something about farming, learning from nature. And another thing, what human beings always needed was fresh water, food and water. So all the human settlements, the time from where the nomadic state finished and people started, settling down. They settled down next to water bodies, whether it was a lake, whether it was rivers. They fought over rivers and lakes with each other, killed each other also, because everybody wanted, access to water. Now, when you live next to water, first thing was always like, they didn't know swimming. Obviously, human beings are the only animals who can't swim. Every other animal seems to have the skill of swimming, every species. So, they didn't know how to catch fish. They could see the fish, but they didn't know how to catch except maybe using a spar or something like that. Okay, it evolved further. They realized that you need to use the waterways. Why? Land routes were treacherous. Somebody can attack you. Then the efficiency of land routes is low. Why you need mules or somebody to carry? Human beings carrying the load. There's a limitation. Whereas if you can get something that floats, you can put lot more weight, and you can use currents, counter currents. So one way or the other, they learn how to tie up knots and all, and somehow how to use the reed to make something like a small wooden platform like thing, raft. Slowly, steadily, they learn. But all this activity was next to domestic water. Domestic water, what I am saying is lakes, rivers, which don't really become that rough or something. So whatever they made could last only there. Moment they came to sea, it was too much. Earlier they didn't know. Over a period, they learned. First one was tying up some sort of a branch or something to make a sail out of it. So using that sail, they could utilize. Earlier thing was only the current. Once you started using some sort of a wind energy, it became little more easier. Then they learned there is something called land breeze and sea breeze that you will be learning in meteorology. There is land breeze and sea breeze. So they learn to use it, okay, timing it accordingly. So I am going from A to B. I can go between these times only. B to A, I have to come back in this time. So this is how it started. That time, obviously, the skills were lesser. Fabric was not there. Then somehow somebody learned over a period how to make a fabric. Fabric came, the sales changed, sales became fabric. Now, when they then the trade was increasing. Now when we look at it, almost say 5,000 years ago, there was a lot of migration and empires. We still talk about those old days where there a lot of movies have been made, like 3,000, 4,000 CE. CE is current epoch. This is something to do with modern day arguments of people saying that otherwise we used to say BC, before Christ. So, as usual, there was somebody who had objections, and then they said, no, we'll use CE. Otherwise, you use BC. It's the same thing. They don't understand why people have to argue on these types of things. Then, that time, you heard stories about Roman Empire, the Persian empires, and so on. India also had some empires. Then, since the trade started slowly, steadily, people needed to transfer things because you already had food stuff, farming. So excessive one you wanted to exchange for something else. So the trade started. Trade started. Now you're going across the oceans, because there's a lot of history written about Mediterranean. Other places it's not so much for different reasons. Probably Mediterranean guys maintain history. Means somebody wrote it down. Our places knowledge was not exchanged much. Like Chinese also had something because the whole civilization has come up together. It is not like civilization was there only in one certain places, but they adopted different styles. These different styles will touch it again afterward. Now, when you start making the ships, what happened? Okay, now you needed stronger ships. Stronger ships means wood. Wood comes only from trees. So forget all the the reed and all whatever was used, the weaker material. Now you need trees. Trees have got size. You just don't have a tree which is 100 meters tall. So whatever trees were available according to that and available technology, wooden ships were made. These wooden ships use sails. These wooden ships use sails and slaves also rowing and all. You must have seen that in movies. But earlier ships, they were. I will turn off. Is my mute all. Okay. So earlier ships reached certain size because technology allowed you to connect wood in a particular way only. They did not have access to metals. Metal technology was low. We are talking already about 6,000 years ago. Okay. So ships had certain size, and how the ship sizes were made, measured was like this tons. This is ton ton. That is cricket ton. Century. 100 cubic feet. Now, those days, whatever unit they use, I don't know. But units of 100, when we learned about these things, we use the unit saying that 100 cubic feet is 1 ton. So, ships had certain size. That was between 500 to 1000 tons because technology didn't exist to make bigger wooden ships. Then later on, means when sailing ships were there, sailing ship size has not really gone up beyond this size even today. Today also you have got sailing ships. They have got reserved cargoes and all. They fly between say India and East Africa and Persian Gulf and all. Dhows we call them. Anyway, the larger ships started only with metal. When metal was tamed, I will use word tamed because metal has been around, but we didn't know tricks of the trade because everybody knew only make the weapon heads, make the sword, and that's it. Small parts. Making big target was not easy till a riveting process came, then the welding process came. The ships had rivets. Even in 1950s, ships were made with riveting. 60s also some ships, but welding had entered. Then ship sizes were something like bigger. Now what happened? The steam engine was found earlier. Now the problem comes. The steam engine was there, but how do you put it on wooden ship? Guy will say, "You are mad or what? You want me to start fire on my wooden ship?" So steam engines didn't work on wooden ships. It was not practicable. Now before that, the what they say age of discovery, that is from mid 1400 to 19. The Europe weather is horrible. Believe me, when you go there in winters and all, you will know it. It's horrible weather. So they had a serious problem of starvation during the winters because how many animals will be there? Your resources were getting dried up. So Europeans started moving out. They had to move out because they did not have convenient things around them. Whereas countries like India, say America with red Indian population and all, or the South America with red Indian populations, Africa, they all had that self working localized economies type. Means villages were sort of self sufficient. They were happy. They had enough resources. And basically, what happens is the equatorial regions get everything on time, so they don't have to work that hard. And Europeans don't come from equatorial regions, so they moved around. And wherever they went, they never had really resistance anywhere. Don't believe in any movie. There was no resistance anywhere because I am happy. You come as a guest. I am happy. Come and sit here. Enjoy food. But Europeans needed to take everything away. So they started colonizing. And they used to use variety of tricks also because their mapping was there. They used to do mapping also. All these names I am talking, Columbus, Magellan, Captain Cook, Darwin, etc. These guys, when they were sailing, they used to also make maps, note down where is what. They used to carry animals in pairs and they used to drop them on islands or the lands wherever they went. And that information was private, secret. They used to exchange among themselves or sell it and all, so that they could replenish their food stuff stock because that particular island somebody had left 2 pigs and now he goes there after 20 years. 2 pigs have become maybe 2000. whatever the local system supported. So all he had to do was catch and use it as food. So they had the mapping system. It took its own time and it improved with time, but they were all secret documents till, really speaking, the British made whole world as their colony. Now, Europeans needed to take back resources from colonies to Europe. So the shipping flourished. They were mostly doing one way. Like it also, they did something like, if you go to USA, you will find it. In a lot of the old ports, you will find these cobblestones. They were carried as a ballast from Europe to USA, discharged there, and all the resources were loaded and ships went back. So this is how it happened. Okay, we'll stop here because you will be reading it anyway, and then we will come to little bigger ships. We are about 5 minutes behind the division one. Now I want your straightforward opinions. Okay, straightforward opinion. Do you understand what I am talking? Honestly, huh? Unmute and tell me.
Yes, sir.
My
Yes,
Yes, sir.
accent, my
Yes, sir.
language, volume.
Yes, sir, of course.
yes, sir.
Yes.
We are.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Definitely,
sir.
sir.
Okay, fine, fine, fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. No, because this is one of the worries in the beginning.
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay.
So one part is over. You can understand. Normally, what is written? Have you read it? Honestly, anybody has read what I have written here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the language I have used here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No difficulties.
No. No, sir.
So your content
No,
is
sir. No
quite user
difficulties.
friendly.
Okay, fine. Means, you see, we have got a big gap. It's like grandfather and grandson. That sort of a gap we have got. So obviously, your styles are different than my styles. We can't copy each other's style. Only in what dramas we can do that. Okay. So this obstacle is also over. Hmm? Now let me just check. Now I will put you on mute so that I get in sequence to see who is absent. Okay. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 50 is missing. Okay. So 50 is missing and 79 you have put a full stop there. After 79 space full stop, not full stop, put your name there. Put your name, because what happens, it makes it easier for both of us. We can also talk. Now
Okay, sir.
what have we? Okay, now tomorrow do some reading on this only, and we will continue tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow your class is at what time? Division 2, same time, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So I expect you all to be on time. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Now what I am going to do is I am going to leave the meeting, and you have got a class from Mangwani sir. English class, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
English,
sir.
no? So good. Don't worry. You, you will like him. He looks like one of you only. He looks very young, in spite of the fact he is doctorate.
Sir,
He looks very young.
actually, sir,
Huh?
roll number 150 messaged me yesterday that he's out of station today.
Okay, but as far as I go, he is not in the class now.
Yes, sir.
That's it. We don't.
Might be some network problem.
Huh? No
There might
problem.
be a network problem.
No, 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 that is okay. As far as I go, these are the essential tasks must be done. That is attendance. And it is
Yes, sir.
up to you only in the end. You can sit physically and at the mind somewhere else, or you just put it on and say, okay, I am smart, I am playing game on the same one. Up to you. It's not, I'm not going to come with you to the ship. Okay. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to leave and I will leave the control to Iftikhar.